Welcome to the 21st edition of my Pug Fireball and Company podcast, where I focus on America's pastime, both past and present. Are you ready to be entertained, informed, and intrigued by stories of memorable players, epic games, and even fans? I'm your host, Steve, and today we're talking to Bly Gage, who started attending Iowa Cub games after he moved to Des Moines in 1985.
Right.
Initially a fan of the Cincinnati Reds and the Big Red Machine, Bly converted to the Cubs after he moved to Des Moines. He and his ex-wife were married at Principal Park during a doubleheader in 1995. Their daughter Riley made her first trip to an Iowa Cubs game when she was only 4 months old. Bly has sung the National Anthem at the old Taylor Stadium and has thrown out the ceremonial first pitch 6 times. So let's get started. So how did you get from Old Wine, Iowa, in northeast Iowa, to Des Moines?
Well, I went to a photography school at Hawkeye Tech in Waterloo, Iowa, and right after I graduated in June, and I started a job in July, just 1 month after here in Des Moines. It was a commercial studio called True Penny Studios. So I moved down for the job, and I've been here ever since.
How many major league teams have you seen play?
I've seen all 30 of them. And I've seen all 30 AAA teams as well.
Have you been to all 30 stadiums?
No, but I'm working on it. I've been to 16, and I'm going to start the stadium tours back. My daughter and I are going to Hawaii in March, and then for her spring break. And when that's done, I'm going to start resuming the stadium tours. New York City is first.
Okay, so what are the ones that you have not seen?
Oh, wow. Well, the Yankees, Dodgers. I've only been to one of the 5 in California. So that would be San Fran, Oakland. The 2 Los Angeles teams. Have not been to either any of the teams in Florida.
So you pretty much have California and Florida to cover, huh?
If I get those off the list, that'll be a good chunk.
That's certainly more than I've seen. I've been to Old Comiskey Park in Chicago, Wrigley Field. I've been to Municipal Stadium in Cleveland. I've been to the new Progressive Field. I've been to...
Have you been to Fenway?
No, that's one place I've never been. I really want to get there someday. Have you?
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, a lot of history. Been to two in Cincinnati, not the current one. Been to a couple in Pittsburgh, not the current one, including the old Forbes Field. That was interesting ballpark. What else? The St. Louis Stadium, not the current one, but the one before that. And I've been to a lot of minor league ones, Akron, Ohio, Burlington, Iowa, when they still had affiliated minor league baseball, Peoria,
Right.
Illinois. Of course, the one here. How many AAA teams have you seen play?
All of them. 30.
All of them. But you certainly haven't been to all 30 ballparks, have you?
No, that's the luxury of living in Des Moines, where you have a AAA. The teams come here. I've been to a lot of the AAA teams, but certainly not all 30. No, that was back when the Pacific Coast League and, like teams like the Columbus Clippers and stuff like that would come to Des Moines. So I got all 30 of those, a lot of them through Des Moines, through watching the Iowa Cubs.
I kind of miss them playing the PCL. Granted, there was thousands of miles of travel they had to put in going to the West Coast and even Canada, but it's fun to see those teams come here. And they had some interesting names like Chihuahuas, Isotopes, but I can see why they reduced it to what they have now. It certainly cuts down on the travel, and they get a day off every week. Yeah. The only problem is you see the same team 6 days in a row.
Yeah, now they have 5-6 game series.
What? As a player, that would probably get rather old, playing the same guys 6 times in a row.
Right, yeah, I know.
Which Major League ballpark is your favorite?
Don't call me biased, but Wrigley is quite the cathedral, and you just walk in there, and it just history just wafts over you. It's very very cool. I would have to say Wrigley, yeah. Fenway was cool as well. Very old, very conservative. Boston itself is ultra conservative, but it kind of spills out onto the ballpark. If you want a beer, you have to go get it yourself. They don't have
Oh,
vendors.
really?
And the bathrooms are, they're, you go into these modern facilities and the bathrooms are huge. There's one doorway for
Yeah.
everybody to go in and out of. It's old, but we sat very close to the green wall, and that was that's kind of extraordinary.
Yeah, I started going to Cub games in Chicago when I was in the 1950s, because at the time we lived in River Forest in Wheaton, Illinois. So my dad would take me to Wrigley Field. Of course, the Cubs were terrible.
Oh, cool.
They did have Ernie Banks, of course, and of course he was my childhood icon. He still is.
Right.
I met his son Joey playing in a fantasy baseball league out in Arizona in 2018 and 19. In fact, 2018 he played on the same team as I did, and that was neat to see him play shortstop just like his dad. He wore 14 just like his dad. And he's still a good ball player, even though he's probably close to 60 now.
What did you play in?
Randy Hundley's, he was the old Cub catcher. He's started a fantasy camp back in the early 90s. He really started the concept of fantasy camps, and now about every team has a fantasy camp in either Florida or out in Arizona. You get to play with the coaches or the guys who used to play for that team, and they played in the major leagues. Oh, I played right field, and then I helped pitch. The second year, they don't have live pitching. They have a pitching machine, so you get to feed the pitching machine. Yeah. But you have to be careful because those guys are still hitting the ball even though they haven't played in probably 15, 20 years. They still hit the ball pretty hard back at you, so you have to be careful. And on the last Saturday, you play against the coaches in a big game right at the Sloan Park where the Cubs actually have games in spring training. So you're on the field where the major leaguers play. The first year,
cool.
we beat them 13-11. Oh, were they upset? It was only the second time they'd ever lost to a bunch of campers.
Oh, really?
Since 1982 or whatever.
11.
It was amazing. They were really upset because, they were major leaguers and they didn't see how they could lose to a bunch of scrubs. Which minor league ballparks are your favorite?
Well, Sec Taylor, obviously. I hope you noticed that I did call it Sec Taylor as opposed to its current name. But calling it Sec Taylor is not inaccurate. The field is still called Sec Taylor Field. So the playing field in which the players play upon is Sec Taylor. So, yes, I had season tickets at the old one, the old Sec Taylor. What, 92, was it? 92 or 93 when they tore it down. And then I keep going religiously to the new stadium. Let's see. I've been to Omaha several times, Buffalo, where the Bisons. Yeah, the Bisons. When I was in Maine, I went to, Pawtucket. It was the Red Sox. I went to them. And pretty much any time I'm traveling, if there's a ballpark close by, I sneak away and where was it? Charlotte, North Carolina. They actually have a merry-go-round at the stadium, right on the concourse for the kids to play on. That was pretty different.
Have you been to the stadium in Davenport? I've been by it, but never in it. They have a big Ferris wheel out in left field.
Oh.
It's generally considered one of the best minor league ballparks because they have a lot of stuff besides just the baseball field. They got a kind of a play area out in the outfield with a Ferris wheel and other stuff. Yeah, the park was actually, I think, a WPA project in the 1930s. But apparently they've kept it up pretty well. But the trouble is, being on the Mississippi, it floods a lot. I've seen pictures when it was totally surrounded by water. In fact, I think one year they had to play their home games over in Iowa City where the Iowa Hawkeyes play because they
Oh,
couldn't use the field in Davenport.
yeah, that's pretty much it's kind of what they get for being so close to the river like that.
And of course, Sam Burnaby, the former president of the ICUPS, he told me about 2008 when they Moines pretty bad, and the water from the Des Moines Raccoon Rivers even made a little bit in the outfield, but they got
Well, the
permission.
flood of you remember the flood of
Well, the big
'93
one was
certainly.
93, yeah.
Yeah, it totally engulfed the entire ballpark. It was
Anyway, he got permission from the city to play a game, and they did play a game, but they couldn't have any spectators on hand, so it was officially a game with zero attendance.
yeah.
One of the very few professional baseball games, maybe the only one that ever had zero attendance. They just had the players, umpires. They couldn't use the sound system, the national anthem, anything. It's like a game out in your backyard. But they played it. And now let's take a break and look at a fun fact. This is from my latest book, Pug Fireball and Company, 116 Years of Professional Baseball in Des Moines, Iowa. Did you know that on April 29th, 1970, 20-year-old Vida Blue of the Iowa Oaks struck out 14 Oklahoma City batters in his AAA debut at Suck Taylor Stadium. In doing so, he broke the one-year-old franchise record of 12 strikeouts. And he still holds, I think, the season record for strikeouts. I never saw him play in person, but he must have been a heck of a pitcher,
Right, yeah.
even at a young age. And I think he was a great quarterback in high school, too, so I guess he could have gone to the pros, too, maybe, or college football. But at the time, baseball was still the number one sport, even
Yeah.
1970. So he probably thought he had a better chance of making it in pro baseball than football.
Yeah. And a lot less injuries.
You said you were a season ticket holder, but you aren't now.
Correct.
No. How long were you a season ticket holder for the?
Oh, several years. Ooh, yeah, 7 or 8, something like that.
I've seen pictures of the old Suck Taylor from the outside. What was that like compared to today's Principal Park?
Well, it was a lot more intimate, very much smaller, and they had that old tin roof, and a foul ball would clunk on that, and you could hear it across the whole stadium. But yeah, it was much smaller and friendlier. But the concourse was kind of crowded, from where you get concessions and the restrooms. That whole area was kind of crowded. It's much better now, but it was a very nice ballpark.
They've moved the dugouts off the field into the stands. I don't know if you heard about that, but that's been done or nearly done. So when you go to the games this coming season, you won't see the bullpens on the field. They'll be in the
Yeah,
stands.
I did read about that.
I think that was kind of
That'll be interesting to see.
a mandatory thing because Major League Baseball wanted them off the fields for safety reasons. I kind of like the bullpens on the field. It adds a little extra dimension to fielding when you have to go climb up a mound.
It was decreed by MLB.
Of course,
Okay.
they pretty much run the minor leagues now.
Yeah.
So that's something to look for. I'm gonna talk to Randy Wayhope, new president, general manager of the iCubs, in a few weeks. I'll ask him about that and any other changes they have. They foresee making. What do you enjoy about going to Iowa Cub games?
Well, just the atmosphere is, to me, is incredible. There's just nothing like spending the day at the park, especially when the weather is nice. Then it's just like the perfect day. I liked it better in the older stadium. I mean, nowadays we live in a where everybody has to be. What's the word I'm sorry. Nowadays, though, it's not so silent. They blast music every chance they get, and they blast it too. Sometimes you have a hard time talking to the person sitting next to you. the kids' attention spans are shorter, and they feel the need to engage them in any way they can. So in the older stadium, it was much quieter, and we didn't live in an age of instant gratification where they needed to be excited all the time.
Yeah.
It's a good place to people watch too. See people in all kinds of different jerseys and outfits for certain. And you can always tell who the visiting team, who their affiliate is, because you will see people with their major league, like when Omaha comes to town, you see Kansas City Royals all over the place, stuff like that. So it's nice that they come to the ballpark and support the team. Any reason to get a person to the ballpark, I'm all for it.
Memphis always brings a lot of Cardinal fans when they play here.
Yep.
Just like a mini Chicago St. Louis at Wrigley Field or Busch Stadium. You're seeing a lot of covered Cardinal jerseys. Wrigley Field's a good place to people watch too. Let's see, I went to Wrigley Field for a game against Baltimore a couple of years ago. It's really the first time I'd been there since 2000. The only thing I don't like about Wrigley Field is all the stuff around it. To me, the Wrigley Field itself is almost dwarfed by all the stuff around it. Wrigley Field has almost become secondary to everything around it. Of course, I think Ricketts has bought most of the property around it, so he's got a steady cash flow no matter what the Cubs do.
Right. Yeah.
And a betting parlor adjoining the stadium, I find that a little odd. Of course, that's because of what betting now has done to sports. It's part of sports now.
Yeah, I know it.
Which I find very ironic because baseball was haunted by gambling for years. And of course, at the infamous 1919 World Series. And yet now they're kissing up to the gambling industry, so it just doesn't make sense. It makes some money, I guess.
Yeah. It's all about the almighty dollar.
Who is your favorite Iowa Cubs player of all time and why?
My favorite player of all time is Doug DeCenzo. What I liked about him is he was just a short guy. He was only 5'8", kind of like me. But he would cover center field like a blanket. I mean, if a ball was hit out there, you just knew he was going to track it down. When I used to keep score, if the ball was hit there, I would already be penciling in that it was caught because he had great speed. He could track it down, and he was just a little guy. He would pitch every once in a while too. Even when he went to Chicago, when he got promoted to Chicago, he pitched for the Cubs like a couple of games a year, that sort of thing. One of the first pitchers. So, yeah, Doug DeCenzo, back in the days when they had Doug DeCenzo and Gary Varsho and Pookie Bernstein, Chico Walker, all those guys.
Do you have many autographs, or is that one of your things? Do you collect autographs?
I have, because they're simple to get, and I go there so often that it just happens to happen. But I'm not really an autograph seeker. I don't stand in the stands where the players exit and enter. I'm not one of those guys, but nothing wrong with those that do. But no, I don't have a ton. I do have Doug DeCenzo on my clipboard that I used to take to the games to keep score. Rick Rona, he was a big one too.
Catcher.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else to add?
Well, when you brought up that fun fact and you were talking about Ernie Banks, did you know that he is a cousin to O.J. Simpson?
No.
Isn't that crazy?
I should know that because I still have a lot of stuff about Ernie Banks. I got 3 pretty big pictures of him, including once when he was at a Legend of the Ballpark Day in Peoria, Illinois. I got his autograph then.
Well,
yeah, he was kind of old then, so they had to bring him in on a golf cart, and he had
really?
to walk with a cane. But and I was a sports writer early in my journalism career, and I did meet him in the dugout actually before a game. This was like 1970, 71. I don't know if he was still playing, or he might have been coaching then. And talked to him briefly in the dugout before a game. So I said I've met his son. He had twin sons and a girl. They're all out in California. So I have 2 upcoming author events you might be interested in. I'll be at the Lead Public Library in Clarinda at 6:30 p.m. Monday, April 20th, and at Plain Talk Books and Coffee in Des Moines at 3 p.m. Saturday, May 16th.
Oh, it's a nice little shop.
Right across from Reagan.
Yep.
I'll also have copies of my book at a big baseball event at Hoyt Sherman Place in Des Moines on Wednesday, May 27th. I don't know any more than that, but John Liepa, a great Iowa baseball historian, has told me about that, so there'll be more details about that coming. I think it's the first time Hoyt Sherman Place has ever hosted a baseball event at this kind, so I guess they're pretty excited about doing it.
Oh, nice.
They'll have exhibits, authors there at Hoyt Sherman. In the afternoon, they'll have a dinner for invited guests, and then they'll throw it back open to the public in the evening. So pretty much a good day's event at Hoyt Sherman. And the thing is, what's neat is Hoyt Sherman's nephew, Charles Sherman, was one of the founders of the first Des Moines professional baseball team.
Okay.
And there was a Sherman in Cincinnati who was a ball player, and I think a relation to the Shermans here, who was also a lawyer, and he decided to pursue law instead of baseball. And as a result, the guy from Montrose, Iowa, became the first professional baseball player in 1869 or 70 for the Cincinnati Red Stockings. They were the first professional baseball team.
Right, yep.
So this guy from Montrose got to play for Cincinnati instead of this Sherman, who I think was some relation to Shermans here in Des Moines.
Are any of those Shermans related to Bobby?
I don't know. So to get my book about the history of professional baseball in Des Moines, you can go to pugfireballingcompany.com or amazon.com. There's also several bookstores in central Iowa that carry it. And if you want to hear more baseball stories like the one today, you can go to my Pug Fireball and Company podcast on YouTube, where this will appear in a few days. So spring's in about 1 week now. And the Iowa Cubs open the new season at home on March 27th, providing there isn't a foot of snow. What's the one opener that you remember the most? Is there anyone that particularly stands out?
The opener of the new stadium, that was a pretty big deal.
Okay. Thanks, Bly, for doing this. So I'll say...